Well, there was a report that came out. They found the last U.S. slave ship in the Mobile River in Alabama. Now, this particular find should have been known to everybody. It's definitely someone who want to know about U.S. history, but they didn't let us know about this. Now, the last ship, the ship was named Clotilda. Back in 1808, the United States banned importing slaves, but they did not stop people from still smuggling slaves into the United States of America. This ship was intentionally sunk in 1860 to hide the evidence of its use. Even though we talked about it was banned, in the southern states, it was still a high demand for African slaves because, you know, they were extremely lazy people. They couldn't do anything for themselves. So they needed black people to come work for them because black people make everything just grow. Black people know how to build. Black people know how to do amazing things. And they understood this. Instead of getting out there and working and doing it themselves, they know this country wouldn't have turned out the way it turned out to, and the wealth that they had wouldn't have happened. It wouldn't have been for black people. A wealthy landowner and shipbuilder from Mobile, Alabama, is the one that paid for the construction of the Cotilda ship. And this particular ship carried 110 men, women, and children back from Benin in West Africa. In 1860, according to historians. Now, if you look at the graph we'll put up here, as you can see, it departed March the 4th, May 15, it arrived to Benin. May 24th, it left, and July the 9th, it came back to Mobile, Alabama. Now, that voyage was just horrible, to be at the bottom of ships, don't know where you're going, and our brothers and sisters were stolen from Benin to come over here and work themselves to death under horrible conditions, being raped, being pillaged by lazy, good-for-nothing slave owners. We have to constantly talk about this history, ladies and gentlemen. We have to. This is not only U.S. history, this is African history as well, and we have to bring it up because they'll tell you, well, it's been such a long time ago. Well, you don't tell that to the Jewish people about the Holocaust, so you don't tell nobody anything about when they talk about what happened to them, but when it mentions the people of this nation, or it happened in Haiti, the slavery you did there, Jamaica, same thing, Dominican Republic, you brought the majority of us to Brazil, and you was very harsh to our ancestors in Brazil. Slavery went on past 1865 in Brazil. So as many of us been spread throughout the African diaspora. But we must talk about this and never, ever, ever forget our history and where we have been imported, where we come from, and what we have contributed to any nation that we have been a part of. We are the nucleus of many of these nations that we were brought out and spread out throughout the diaspora. They don't want you to know your history, not at all. They don't want you to start researching and looking into things because it's going to break down all the lies that you were told. If they did not import you here, this place wouldn't be what it is today. Things have been totally different. The history had been set different. This is why they got so upset with Mortal Kombat when the character Jax had his opportunity to change something at his ending, and he chose to just make sure slavery never happened. And they got so triggered about that. That was the funny part. You got triggered about a video game, but it showed Jax and his family in Africa happy, modern, didn't know anything about no slavery. Many of us would change that, just like Jax did in that video game, Mortal Kombat 11. But the thing is, history has a way of repeating itself, not in the guise of slavery, but if you look at our history, you have brothers like Mansa Musa and all the different kingdoms that we had in the continent, things repeat themselves. And I know sometimes it may seem like things are horrible, we in a horrible state mentally, physically, spiritually, but trust me, things could turn around overnight. I see a whole lot more better than good. And as we are becoming more and more awakened through just knowledge of just history. They didn't tell you about these slave ships like that. They didn't tell you that. They didn't want you to know anything about the voyage. They didn't want you to know about particular slave ships, where we were brought to. They didn't want us to know that because they strategically miseducated us on slavery. And we have a right to talk about our Holocaust in this land. Black Americans' Holocaust happened here in the United States. The Holocaust of our other brothers and sisters that happened in Jamaica and were known now as Dominican Republic, that happened in Brazil. That's the Holocaust that happened to those brothers and sisters. And we should never forget slavery. All of us have a kinship when it comes to that. Some of our brothers and sisters that were dropped off in Mexico and went through slavery there underneath the Spaniards. We must continue to talk about our history, because that's what binds us together, for one. And two, we all got to fight for reparations, whatever country that we're in. Well, leave me a comment there, little thing about the situation with finding this last slave ship, but continue to speak about our history. Never let them make you feel bad about it. Never let them shut you up and say it's a long time ago. And we're like, F that and F you. I'm going to talk about my history every day of the week if I want to. I'll make videos, documentaries, YouTube channels, podcasts, it don't matter. I'm going to talk about my history because everyone else talk about theirs.